What are my thoughts on Stalker 2 so far? I'm not gonna waste your time, so if you just want a quick summary, the general impressions from what I've seen and heard from these final previews is that the game is playable and it's mostly finished. I would say maybe 90% good. But there is still a lot of things that need to be fixed, like NPCs looking like robots, missing LODs, things just disappearing, and lack of collision with multiple objects. All of these issues need to be fixed, and considering that we are less than a month away from release, it is very worrying. So, in this first chapter we're going to talk about the good things, and in this second chapter we're going to talk about the bad things. Now, let's start with what they've done right. First, the atmosphere. As we see here, for me personally, this is peak. This just screams Stalker. It's so bleak and eerie, but so beautiful and captivating at the same time. It's a balance that Stalker games were always good at, and even in the Metro franchise as well. It's a feel that I love so much in these type of games, and they managed to capture it so well, and I am impressed. For the nighttime, it's also pretty well done. In so many games, nighttime it's either too dark that you cannot see anything, or too bright that it just breaks the immersion. But they managed to find the right balance. It's bright enough to see the overall scenery, but dark enough so you cannot see everything clearly. It looks absolutely amazing, they definitely nailed it. The anomalies also look pretty well done. The visuals are decent. I love the distorting effect when looking through some of them, and some arch anomalies also look stunning, like the ribs anomaly, this gravitational one, which even affects nearby objects as you see with these vehicles in real time, which is crazy, and this gorgeous poppy field anomaly, which slowly puts you to sleep with a cool blur effect when you're inside it. Overall, a good job. A great throwback to the mutant behavior. It's amazing to see that the mutants are aware of their surroundings. They mostly try to avoid anomalies, as you can see with this flash. And also, we notice that dogs don't just rush you without concerns. They try to play around and find the perfect time to attack you. This is so immersive because the mutants in Stalker are not just these mindless monsters. They feel more like living beings that value their lives with somewhat of an intellect, which makes them very interesting enemies. Moving on to the human enemies and gameplay, they also seem to be pretty well done. The combat feels more natural, and the NPC AI in combat looks decent. As you see here, even though Skiff is not using a silencer, the two bandmates, they don't just immediately spot you and every enemy nearby suddenly knows your location. They instead become alerted and would have probably started investigating the area, which is way better. Also, instead of just baiting the enemies and waiting for them to push you to get easy kills, here we can see that apparently they try to hold their positions instead. This means the player is the one who will need to push the enemy cover, making the combat a bit harder and tactical, which is a good thing. Last thing is the map. We got a look at the southern part of the zone. We can see this is Elysia village, which will be our starting area, and other interesting spots like Zaton, which has been merged with the swamps, the Cordon, the ward base, and a little part of the town Chernobyl 2 and the Duga radar. We got some new information, however. We now know that the industrial area here is actually the army warehouse. Above it, we see the Agroprom Institute and its factory, which is still to the west of the garbage, and also the Dark Valley apparently has the exact same layout as the original games. We can see the big farm here, the abandoned science center where the Lab X-18 is located, and the bandit base located in the cement factory. Obviously, there's a lot of other good things as well, like the gun sounds, the weapon models, weapon inertia, the upgrade system, the audio work, the vibe of the underground locations, and the campfire animation, like one stalker is just chilling, the other is using his PDA, one is smoking, the other one is playing the guitar. All of these things are pretty well done, among other things of course. So in general, the game is looking mostly decent so far. However, this is where we bring up the bad things. From NPCs looking like robots until you talk to them, to the conversations instantly reminding me of Starfield, and that's not a compliment by the way, and even the poltergeist rock shield just straight up disappearing. By the way, if you enjoyed this video so far, give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Now, out of all the things that I'm going to talk about, this is the most important one. They need to fix this. It is the NPC behavior. What is this? Like, the first thing that came to mind was Starfield. Look how he transitions from idle animation to conversation. It's so unnatural and immersion breaking. This guy called Gloomy is supposed to be a hostage, by the way. Tell me how a huge fight is taken right next to him, with shots fired, people going down, and he's just standing there emotionless, almost like a robot. He should at least be crouched in a fear state, like screaming, don't shoot, or something, not just standing like this, right? The technician as well, same thing. Notice how he is just staring into oblivion, not moving at all, even though a customer just entered his shop. Even standing right next to him, he doesn't even flinch until you press the talk button. When you talk to them, they suddenly become a human again, and that transition from extreme to the other extreme is very bad. He should at least be doing something in his shop, maybe like fixing a gun or cleaning parts, and when you enter his shop, he should at least greet you like, "Hey, welcome to the shop," or some other voice line. The barman scene is a bit better, but still, I would love that maybe the barman should be doing barman things like serving drinks while talking to you, cutting bread, cleaning, I don't have a glass here, but cleaning glasses, things like that, right? So overall, the NPCs lack environmental awareness, and this is the first thing that they need to fix. On the topic of conversations, let's talk about UI elements. The inventory is not that bad, I personally don't mind it that much. It's basically Call of Pripyat but modernized, which is good enough. You still look at it and think, yes, this is Stalker. What's not like Stalker is the dialogue interface. They completely changed it. I mean, why? The dialogue interface in Stalker is so unique to the franchise. You don't just take something that original, which helped build the identity of your games, and just remove it. It's a big part of the Stalker art style. Of course, maybe change it a little bit like the inventory, but don't remove it completely. Speaking of removing things completely, let's talk about the poltergeist shield. As you can see here, the shield just suddenly disappears. We can see that there is an animation for the rocks actually falling, but the animation itself gets cut off before it finishes or something. I don't know exactly how it works, but it should not just disappear like this. It should fall to the ground, stay there for a certain period of time, then slowly disappear. Same thing in this campfire scene. This guy here throws a can on the ground. We see that it has collision, but it also just suddenly disappears. I think it should stay visible on the ground as long as the player is there, and make it only disappear after the player is at a certain distance away from it. That's how it should work. Also, slightly before this scene, you can see that some LODs are still missing. Look at the roof of this house, it just appears when in range with a working LOD. Stuff related to collision and physics as well. This container here just clips through, the grass doesn't even move. Also in here, there's a huge storm in the area, everything is going crazy. There's literally branches in the air, but somehow the grass is barely moving. The flying petals in this scene don't have collision, they just clip through walls. The branches in this cave as well, the player just clips through them. Explosions too, the player literally blows up a gas tank, and the van next to it doesn't even flinch. The doors are still the same. Not even like a burn spot or like slight deformation. The explosion in this cave as well, it only interacts with the breakable boxes and boards. The wooden shelf next to it should have been blown to pieces by this too, but it's not damaged at all. All of these, it's just missed opportunities. Since we're in this cave, let's talk about the lighting. Where is the dynamic lighting for the flashlight? It's not there. Like, how community mods have not only dynamic lighting, but also volumetric lighting, but a 2024 Unreal 5 game does not. It makes no sense. This little oil lamp here has more illumination than the lamp here. How is it even possible? A lamp this size is supposed to light up a decent portion of this area, but it's barely emitting any light. Same with reflections, we don't see any reflection on the water for the player light, but we do see it in the glass here. Player shadows too, look at this, it looks so goofy, especially when running. Obviously the 3D animation for the player character are not polished, maybe they're just placeholders. And the same thing with the shadows on the gun in this scene here, they just flicker in a weird way. Also, two good points journalists from Games Radar bring up on the review. Apparently they went into this cave and cleared it when they played. but because after that they got a quest to go to that cave to do a mission there, suddenly the cave was filled with mutants again, and new objects that you were supposed to find appeared inside the cave. Now the mutants, it's completely fine because it's an open world and mutants move around, so it makes sense. But new objects appearing in stashes or places you already looted is such a bad quest design. A better way is to make those quest items available to loot even without the quest, and just make them untradeable and put a little label in their description that says quest item, and problem solved. When you start the related quest, maybe even add a special line which triggers when you already have the item they are looking for in your inventory with a unique dialogue or something, or simply lock them behind a quest objective. This is good quest design. Second thing is, at one point you will encounter a quest to help either the loners or the ward. When they played, they apparently betrayed the ward and helped the loners instead. And when they went back to the ward to see what would happen, the ward didn't even react to the fact that the player just betrayed them. I don't know if this is intentional, but it's definitely bad. As you can see, all these little problems just stack up together to show that the game is not polished yet, and the attention to detail is not completely there yet. And you may say, oh, they didn't want to do this and that because of the performance issue. Why not just put them behind the graphical setting? Like there's low, medium and high, just put those features like full collision on high setting, or even add a new setting like ultra and put those performance heavy features only in that setting with a comprehensive description, and that's it. And you can also say that, oh, Stalker is not Stalker without jank, right? Believe me, I know, and I kind of agree. I've been playing Stalker for almost 15 years, but this is not the kind of jank you want in your game. For me personally, and probably for a lot of fans too, GSC can give me the most jankiest game ever with bugs and everything, and I will still play the hell out of it. But you have to understand that Stalker 2 will be the first entry into the Stalker franchise for so many new players, and the success and health of the game will depend mostly on these new players. The fan base is only a small fraction, so you want your game to be as polished as possible, and this is why I bring up all these flaws with the game, because I want the game to be good, not only for us, the fan base, but for the general public too. As I said, the game so far looks amazing, it is playable and the feel of Stalker is still there, so it's mostly good to go. But having these problems less than a month away from the planned release is very worrying. Also, no benchmark charts yet, no preview of ALF 2.0, which is one of the most important features in Stalker. We still have no idea how it's going to be, what are the improvements, how it's going to work in an open world setting, etc. So I guess we can only hope that a month worth of time is going to be enough to fix these problems. Again, I'm only giving constructive criticism here, I'm not a developer and I don't know how Unreal Engine 5 really works, so if you have more information about these issues, please let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more Stalker content. We reached 50 subscribers, which is insane to me. I don't know, it's not like a big number, but it tells me that what I'm doing here at least matters to some people, and that's pretty cool. Thank you for supporting the channel. We're going to be playing Stalker 2, of course, when it comes out. There's going to be more Stalker videos, and if you are interested in Stalker but you don't know where to start, which game to play first, what mods to use, then click on this video here. It has everything you need to get you into Stalker. But if you want to prepare for Stalker 2 but you don't have the time to actually play the original games, then watch this one instead. You will literally understand everything about Stalker in just 30 minutes. So, thank you so much for watching, and of course, good hunting, Stalkers.